Well, hello my lovelies, it's Murky Meg here. It's Wednesday the 3rd of February, and can you remember the last video I did? I spoke about the weirdness surrounding the changes of Archie's birth certificate. Well, more has come to light, and it gets even more stranger. If you've not seen my previous video, which goes into details about what has been changed on the certificate, I've popped a link in the right hand corner and you can click that now and it will take you to it. However, it seems that Meghan's and Harry's, I suppose, team shot back a response to the tabloids. Now, in this statement, it says the change of name on public documents in 2019 was dictated by the palace, as confirmed by documents from senior palace officials. This was not requested by Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, nor by the Duke of Sussex. To see this UK tabloid and their carnival of so-called experts chose to deceptively whip this into a calculated family snub and suggest that she would oddly want to be nameless on her child's birth certificate or any other legal document, would be laughable were it not offensive. There's a lot going on in the world. Let's focus on that rather than creating clickbait. Now let's focus on that very strange statement. Looking at the words and the emotions behind the word and the non-professional element of it, it seems a rather hurried response, as if rather than sit back, take a few moments and make sure the wording is perfect and professional, seems that they must have just quickly fired off a response. But what's strange to me is that Meghan is referred to by Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, and Harry is referred to by the Duke of Sussex. Why does she get the name in and he doesn't? Very odd. The use of the term carnival of so-called experts is a very clear dig at the tabloids. And again, their anger is showing. This isn't a professional statement, and I don't think it's been passed through to the lawyers. I think this was purely something, right, put this out. No, can't, no, we're not doing this, we're not having this. Another thing that I want to draw your attention to is the fact that they said would be laughable were it not offensive. These are supposed to be very professional people. I use that term very loosely, but that's what they want us to think. They're saying that what's been put out is laughable. This is supposed to be a statement, and it's dripping with venom and emotion. And to sign off that there's a lot going on in the world, let's focus on that rather creating clickbait. Well, I'm afraid that you guys do that yourself. If you want to stop the clickbait, stop releasing nonsense PR pieces yourself. Lead by example, then others might follow. It's an astonishing attack directly at the UK tabloids in what they call a carnival of so-called experts. It's implied that the change was forced on the couple by Buckingham Palace officials. Now, a spokesperson for Meghan said the change of the name on the public documents in 2019 was dictated by the palace, as confirmed by documents from senior palace officials. Now, this is all rather bizarre, but it gets even weirder. Now, before this statement was put out, Buckingham Palace sources suggested that this was purely a clerical error and nothing more to it than that. It was said that Meghan herself had altered all the official documents, including her UK passport, following her marriage. Now, as it stands, we're led to believe that feathers have been ruffled inside Buckingham Palace at the suggestion that the Sussexes were dictated to, as per their press release. The New York Post did a very strange article that suggested that the changes were required by the Garter Principal Kings of Arms and Senior Herald Thomas Woodcock, a member of the royal household and chief advisor to the Queen on ceremonial matters. Now, the Daily Mail actually spoke to Mr. Woodcock at the College of Arms yesterday, and he was completely bemused by this suggestion, saying, "It doesn't ring a bell with me." And the Daily Mail have actually suggested that the New York Post had been guided by the Sussexes PR to run that piece to suggest that it was in fact the firm's side that made these demands. Now, Mr. Woodcock also said that the sense of bemusement is echoed also by the palace. One source told the Daily Mail that there's no set of protocols with these things. The birth certificate is a civic document, so there are options on how it's filled out. The language used in the statement suggested it was the palace who dictated is somewhat unfortunate, and it certainly wasn't addressed like that. The statement and its wording poses more questions than it answers, unfortunately. Just on a sidebar, if you hear a meowing, it's my cat. She's very vocal this morning, so please, I do apologise if you can hear a meow. And the Mirror also spoke to another source that claimed that the change didn't come from the palace, but it actually came from the Sussex staff. Now, Russell Myers explains one royal source revealed to me that Meghan ordered her staff to make the change to Archie's birth certificate in order to fall in line with amendments she'd already made with her passport. The amendment was made by Meghan and Harry's personal team when they had their own staff based at Kensington Palace, who in turn reported to Buckingham Palace. So the sharp rebuke of the palace makes even less sense. In short, Meghan already styled herself as HRH, the Duchess of Sussex, dropping her given names and wanted some form of continuity. Now, I have to draw your attention to Richard Palmer. Now, he is the royal correspondent of the Daily Express. He did an amazing tweet in which he said his wife's version, i.e. Harry, of why she changed the details on Archie's birth certificate has been challenged by the palace. It's a problem for journalists trying to check facts because she and Harry won't respond to several British newspapers. But even when they do, it's not always accurate. You know, I've got to love a little bit of Richard Palmer because he often throws shade so subtly. It's quintessentially English. So we have Harry and Meghan who said, it was the palace that made us change it. The palace insiders are going, what? We didn't do that. So somebody is telling porky pies. So is it Team Harry and Meghan or is it Team Buckingham Palace? I don't think this one's over just yet because the wording was so strong in that statement from Harry and Meghan, or rather from Meghan, and they really did lay the blame on the palace. This is not looking good in my personal opinion. They are throwing stones in their own glass houses. It really doesn't sit well, I don't think, for the decision that's looming over Harry on whether or not he's going to retain his military titles. Now, if you remember when Brexit happened and the Sandringham Summit, his 3 military titles were put on hold. Now, just for context, those military titles cannot be left unseated, so you can't have it vacant at all. So what they did was, during this 12-month review, they kind of put them on hold and said, we're leaving the door open, we're giving you 12 months to decide if this is the life that you want, but after 12 months, we will have to fill those 3 roles. We're leaving them open just in case you want to come back. Now we're coming up to the 12-month review, and if Harry is not coming back, then I don't see any possible version that he could retain those military titles because he's not a working member of the royal family. So there's chatter amongst the papers that he's desperate to retain these titles, but I don't think that's possible at all. There was a small snippet in the Telegraph that says the Duke of Sussex I keep saying the Duke of Sussex. It's the Duke of Sussex is determined to keep his honorary military titles and wants to spend more time in the UK. He will fight to keep the 3 patronages he has to give up pending a 1-year review of his decision to leave the country. His 3 honorary titles are Captain General of the Royal Marines, Honorary Air Commandant of the RAF Honington in Bury St Edmunds, and Commodore-in-Chief Small Ships and Diving, the Royal Naval Command. Now, it's a little bit tricky because they're not real military titles. They haven't been won in battle and gone through the ranks. They are honorary titles. And the Queen is the head of the armed forces, and she herself represents all of the armed forces, and it's at her bequest to dish these titles out. Whether or not Harry keeps those titles is now on a knife edge. And we'll find out very soon because those titles need to be filled unless the 12-month review is extended. Now, if he is allowed to retain 3, 2, or even one of those titles, I think there will be uproar, because he's not really interested in Britain, is he? And the fact that he's turned around and said, oh, I want to spend more time in Britain. Oh, Meghan, can we go back to England? No, Harry, you've made your feelings quite clear on how you feel about the English people. So, no, sorry. It would be a slap in the face, to be perfectly honest, if he is allowed to retain any of his titles. You know, there are 2 fun examples of Harry's behaviour being disrespectful for the roles that he holds at the moment. He went to a film premiere instead of the Royal Marines Remembrance Ceremony. He also pulled a stunt at Remembrance Sunday, which quite frankly was distasteful, and it was deemed as a publicity stunt. It clearly was. I mean, they had the photographer in tow and it went viral and overshadowed everything. And that to me is not acceptable, to overshadow such a momentous and poignant day. It's so sacrilege that the Queen literally puts everything on hold and no more news is allowed out of Buckingham Palace because for fear of overshadowing Remembrance Sunday. It's that poignant. Yet Harry really didn't care and just whoosh, open the floodgates. We can do it too. Look at us. We're in a cemetery. So I'd love to know your thoughts on all of this with regards to the birth certificate, with the news coming out of this huge statement and really slapping down Buckingham Palace saying, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. We didn't do it, it's your fault. And Buckingham Palace going, well, they didn't. It's not a statement from them, but insiders said, no, that's bizarre. No, it was the Sussex team. They did it. Who's telling the truth? Is it the Sussexes or is it the firm? And do you think that this could get even bigger in a toxic battle? Because quite frankly, that's what it's blown up to be. And we all know that narcissists love a battle, don't they? And what do you think about Harry's titles? Do you think that these 3 titles are going to be retained by him? Do you think the 12-month review is going to be pushed back and postponed? Or do you think they're literally going to go, no, you've shown no interest whatsoever in retaining these titles, you're not having them? That is the decision of the Queen and the Queen alone. She can either strip him of his titles or he can retain them on her command. As always, I would love to know your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell and also that like button. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of my followers for all the tips and all the emails, DMs that everybody sends to me. It really is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for watching once again.